And hello, everybody. This is MJ Hernandez, also known as the host for this show. This is A's Weekly, big part of the Baseball Podcast Network. And we have a good one here, folks. Going to talk about the bullpen crisis, starters, deserving all-stars, players for the future, the catchy situation, and much, much more. This week we are going to have a lot of fun, you guys, and we like to thank again the Baseball Podcast Network for giving me this opportunity and talking to you guys about these great things to talk about. And of course, always let me know your questions, anything that you guys are concerned about. You can always DM me on Instagram, Athletics Dynasty. Follow it, give it a follow. Thank you again for tuning in for this 4th episode. Already 4 episodes. But yeah, much more Ace Talk coming in to you soon after these messages. So there we go, another Bay Area legend, as we always start off the show with the great Bay Area music, man. And that's just something that this show tends to have. I mean, we always just love this hyphy movement that we have in the Bay Area, that many people, that if you're from Oakland, if you're from the Bay Area even, you just know about this hyphy movement that we got over here in the Bay Area. You 42 Short, Mac Dre, of course, the opening of the show. Many great music and memories, and just having us A's fans have a good time, whether it be out in the parking lots and you're just tailgating or doing the barbecue, or you're in the Coliseum just getting crunk or getting hyphy or getting stupid, like how Mac Dre calls it. You guys would enjoy this. But let's go back to A's baseball. The A's so far have lost against the Los Angeles Angels yesterday for 7-3. Tanner Anderson started that game, or 8-3, sorry. Tanner Anderson gave up 7 runs on that game, which was pretty upsetting to me, because I was really hyped up for Tanner Anderson for this opportunity. Other than the Tampa Bay Rays, who he's already faced twice out of his 4 starts that he's already done in the majors. Now he has a struggle, and hopefully they give him a chance to see what he can do, how he can turn things around, to see if he's legit or not. He has a bad ERA at the moment, but you never know. But if he does pitch, however, he will face the red-hot Minnesota Twins, who currently have the best record of the MLB. I don't know if that's been broken already, but they're only a game ahead or 2 ahead of, I think it was New York. But Minnesota, very great team. So we're going to play them after the 4-game series against the Angels, which will be game 2 tonight at 7 o'clock, which is actually on its way already as we're speaking right now. So it's LA, Minnesota, then Seattle again. We haven't figured out the Seattle Mariners, so it's going to be a really tough upcoming 3 series, because 2 of these guys are our division rivals. Angels, Seattle, and Minnesota, being as great as they are. I mean, they just broke out talent-wise and just have an amazing team overall. But going back over, we promised that we were going to talk about this last week, but we really didn't touch on too much of it. Let's go over the whole bullpen, whether it be bullpen pitchers or pitchers in the bullpen that are in right now, and pitchers in the bullpen that will be later on in the future, whether it be from people that are getting back from injury, or they're in the AAA affiliate of the Las Vegas Aviators currently. Very big moves that happened this week. Brian Schiller was called up after the suspension that we first reported last Friday, which has already been a week, of Frankie Montas, 80-game suspension, including playoff games. Man, that one was a big blow for the A's pitching staff. So the A's decided to call up J.B. Wendelken and Brian Schiller, and they actually demoted a pitcher as well. They demoted Daniel Mengden, and then he called back up again, which was pretty interesting to see, because J.B. Wendelken and Brian Schiller, they held it down when there was currently 4 people on the starting rotation. And just 2 days ago, Daniel Mengden pitched one of the games against St. Louis, who the A's swept, which was really exciting. The team just looked a lot better. The pitching looked a lot better. But yesterday, it was literally just Tanner Anderson who really struggled yesterday with the Los Angeles Angels, giving up a lot of home runs, hits, wild pitches. You can name anything exactly. This is something that has been pretty upsetting, especially since the starting rotation for the last month already have been very locked in and solid and doing what they've been asked to do. We saw Brian Anderson getting roughed up the game before the St. Louis Cardinals series started. He got roughed up with I think it was Tampa Bay, and then now it's Tanner Anderson. So today, Mike Fiers has the ball. He is going to be ready to pitch today, and hopefully he can turn things around. Yesterday, Griffin Canning was very impressive. I mean, a lot of people have had praise for Griffin Canning, the young right-handed starting pitcher for the Los Angeles Angels. Really pitched well, I have to say, and give credit where credit's due. And looks like they have a really good one in Griffin Canning, and hopefully he can do some damage. But let's talk about the bullpen, like I always said we were. Aaron Brooks. Let's start out with Aaron Brooks. We already know how he is. He is somewhat versatile, both capable of being a reliever and starter, but you never know where you're going to get from him. There's those inconsistencies that come in with Aaron Brooks, but something that it was a little more bright to me, and I got to give credit where credit's due. I always like to, even if it's a player I really don't like or don't want in the roster, and I will always be vocal about that. But we got to give credit to Aaron Brooks, who has only surrendered 3 runs in the last 12 innings pitched and brought down that 5.79 ERA to a 5.03. And I know it's not really a big sample of of innings pitches, but this is the interesting part. 5 out of those 7 appearances were multiple innings of relief. And the ones where he went multiple innings of relief, he only gave up the maximum 1 run. So if Aaron Brooks could start turning things around, that would be a perfect case scenario for him. For some reason, the Oakland A's have the faith in him. For some reason, the A's still have him in the roster. If it were up to me, I would have got rid of Aaron Brooks before I would have got rid of Fernando Rodney. Just because I really didn't see much in him. The only good game that I've seen him pitch was that one game against Boston. I think he went 6 or 7 innings and pitched a really good gem. But Aaron Brooks, I mean, we first acquired him from the Ben Zobrist trade. He came along with Sean Manaea. We all know how great Sean Manaea has turned out so far. It had the no-hitter from last year. And he has been reported to get ready to pitch in rehab, ready to start rehab assignment. But he has had a little setback, a little injury has came with the lower body. And I really don't know exactly. I should have wrote what exactly he had, but it was a little setback. Doesn't seem to be too serious. So hopefully he would be able to pitch through that. But Aaron Brooks, going back to Aaron Brooks, and he was acquired from the Ben Zobrist trade. He got that first start. He was a starter coming in from Kansas City. had a couple of good games, and then he was let go. He was let go, and we remember what Aaron Brooks was capable of being. He was just one of those guys. A lot of people like to call it innings eaters, but it's just a guy that's just trying to find who he is as a baseball player. And the A's, with a lot of these players that we can't say the same thing, or pitchers at least, Aaron Brooks has been given every opportunity that he has needed to say that he's properly had a good run with Oakland, because he's been brought back for a second stint, and since then they have trusted him enough to be a starter and a reliever. But up to now, the relief role that he's playing, it's generally in low leverage type situations. That's where he's throwing the the scoreless multi-inning of relief. So when we hear Aaron Brooks, especially when we hear Aaron Brooks, we like to just not overhype this amount of outings. I want to see him in higher leverage situations. If the guys that are supposed to be working, like Lou Trevino, Blake Trinan, who is currently in the injury list, Ryan Buckner, Joaquim Soria, you need something from other guys. And Aaron Brooks so far has been shutting people's mouth, including me, little by little bringing down that ERA. But he's one of those guys also that can have one of those bad outings and quickly change your mind in just one game pitch. But let's go to our next reliever, Wei-Chung Wang. Wei-Chung Wang, in the last 12.2 innings of relief, has only allowed 3 runs. And 5 out of the 9 were multi-inning appearances. Now Wei-Chung Wang, everyone loved the upside that he brought to this team. And a lot of people were skeptical because there hasn't been a lot of Taiwanese pitchers who've had success in the major leagues, and he was going to be one of those guys that, if he did find success, he was going to be one of those guys included into being one of the few successful Taiwanese pitchers in the major leagues. And one thing that I like about Wang, he is a bulldog. He is a bulldog. He's not intimidated of anything. He comes in at any he comes in at any time when you need him. And now he's starting to become one of those guys that are coming in higher leverage situations, and that's what I'm liking about Wang. He could keep the game close enough with the role he's had right now. He's been a starter in the Japanese league, in Japan, but he was not really as successful as a starter, so I think he's more effective as a reliever, and it seems like he's very, very, very comfortable in that role. So Wang, long-term wise, I think they'll keep Wang just because he does have success under his belt right now as an Oakland A. That first stint with Milwaukee, they brought him up in Milwaukee. He was getting hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. That was Wang's situation in Milwaukee. And now he gets to revamp his career and get a second chance, and now he's back, and doing great. Brian Schlitter, 2 runs in 3 innings, not enough to talk about him, but he is a ground ball machine. He's not going to be someone that strikes people out. They picked him over J.B. Wendelken, and that was something that surprised me. I was very much expecting Brian to get demoted when Daniel Mendon got called up and we needed to let go one of the 9 relievers that we had. And I thought Brian was going to be the for sure